Yo, it's Mel from Rap Rankings. To hear the full episode this clip comes from and all the other episodes, stop by raprankings.com or search Rap Rankings on your favorite podcast platform. Track 3, Know Your Role by Method Man, produced by Rock Wilder. Haven't heard that name in a while.
Well, we love Rock Wilder over here. We're kind of the Rock Wilder boys, if you will.
We've been called such before.
Before we get into Chris Jericho again, we just watched that episode of SmackDown. I'm sure we talked about it a little bit with Evan and Caitlin.
Mm-hmm.
But let's, hone in specifically on this record. I don't know if he ever did again, but The Rock, he made one entrance to this specific song.
And it was
from
in the episode
the Aggression
we watched.
soundtrack. Yeah, it was in this Aggression, or in this SmackDown episode, rather, that we watched. I have a clip of it. This is The Rock making his entrance to the song we're about to review, Know Your Role.
It's this clip called Rock, right?
Yep.
Okay, here we go.
Do you smell what The Rock is cooking? Do you smell what The Rock is cooking? Smell it. Show me. Do you smell what The Rock is cooking?
Yeah. The Rock has come back, bringing down the smack on the contraction between his ass.
He's The Rock! And the song performed by Method Man! You can check it out on WWF Aggression, the CD available now! Aggression King features the greatest array of hip-hop artists on one CD. And it's original rap songs based on WWF Superstar themes. And I'm digging the Method Man. The Rock heading to WrestleMania a week from Sunday. The fatal four-way elimination matchup with the title on the line. And Vince McMahon will be in The Rock's corner. And tomorrow night, The Rock makes a stop on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno. The Rock is red hot.
Mike O'Cole, ever the company man.
Yeah.
You gotta respect it, though.
He's loving the Method Man.
He's been told to say he's loving the Method Man.
Yeah, are we loving it, though?
Not loving it. That would be a 9, but I'm for sure liking it a lot. Flat 8.
Wow. I'm a little bit under you. 7+. I do like this one. Before we get into, though, our thoughts on the song, I have a clip of Method Man. He did an interview on Chris Jericho's podcast, and believe it or not, they mainly talk about rap. They don't talk that much about wrestling, but I got a little bit of some excerpts of Method Man talking about his wrestling fandom, and he is there's so much I had to cut out from their conversation about wrestling because they go for about 15 minutes.
Right.
So this is just a little portion of it, but here's Method Man talking for about 4 or 5 minutes about how much he loves pro wrestling and his favorite wrestlers.
Just as we wind down a bit, I know that you are a big wrestling fan. We talked about that earlier. You watch the show now? You watch it?
I haven't had time. No, right. I can't catch it, but it is on my DVR. Raw tapes every Monday, and all 3 hours of it. Thanks, Vince.
Who are some of your all-time favorites throughout the course of your fandom?
Rene Goulet.
Yeah, you love Rene.
Yeah, Cowboy Bob and Roddy.
Okay, yeah.
Roddy was my top. He just, for some reason, his promos and Piper's Pit was just, the older guard, Pat Patterson. I used to love Ivan Putski.
Wow, so you go all the way back, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Tony Atlas, Rock, Rock's father.
Rocky Johnson.
Mm-hmm. Chief
J. Strongbow.
Stan Stasiak. Oh, I used to like Adrian Adonis.
Yeah.
I used to love Adrian Adonis. But I remember it was a North-South connection before he did the other thing with the whole
the gay thing, right.
He had a partner, and it was like a North-South connection. I forgot who
No,
it was.
dude, it was the East-West connection.
East-West connection.
It
There
was
you
Jesse
go.
the Body Ventura.
God, and Jesse the Body Ventura. We all know, that he was biting superstar Billy Graham's whole thing, but he did it so well.
Yeah, he was so great.
Oh, my God. And when The Rock came around, I was there. I saw that whole run.
That was,
From the time he went to the Nation and just said, you people.
Who did you do the theme song for? You did somebody's
I
theme
did
song.
one for Kane, which never got aired, and one for The Rock.
You did The Rock. Yeah, I remember.
And then I caught this guy. Just incredible, man. I started watching ECW, and this dude would just come in, the bravado and just the swagger and the hair. Chris Jericho. And he would do the Lion song. Oh, you was in there getting your ass kicked in there, boy, but you was kicking ass too and taking numbers, baby.
Yeah.
Taking numbers. And I remember they did this promo, I think, for like 2-3 months. You're opening
The countdown, yeah.
Yes, and when you finally came out, we went fucking crazy. Like, yeah, you about to see some fucking shit now, baby. And sure enough, Chris, you did not disappoint, brother.
Man.
From promo to being in the ring, giving your all, to being the unified champion, the first unified champion. There can only be one. There can only be one, and you deserved every bit of it.
Hype man. You got to be my hype man.
Brother, you deserved every bit of it because you put your work in.
Oh.
You definitely put your work in. That makes me think of people like Miz, right? Now, Miz, Mark Henry used to tell me all the stories. They put that dude through hell.
He did.
Whooped his ass.
Well, because we didn't know if he was legit or not, because
Right.
he came in through real world.
Exactly, yeah. I
So,
remember that.
does he want to play wrestler? Does he really want to do this? And, of course, he really did, but you never know that at first.
Yeah, so you got to test his.
Yeah.
And I mean, when you got people like Undertaker walking around and shit, you know what I mean? And he's real serious, Mark.
Yeah.
He's real serious about his
Yeah,
shit.
yeah,
Like, he doesn't play no bullshit. I get that, man.
Did you ever get a chance to meet any of those guys, like Piper or anybody like that?
I went backstage because I was on the Hard Knock Life tour. I went backstage and met a lot of the ECW wrestlers. That was the first time I seen Sabu talk. Freaked me out. But it was a mess back then.
Yeah.
Nothing like WWE, which I expected. I mean, it's a Paul Heyman promotion and shit. And
Well,
these guys were
smaller,
grinding.
too,
They
you
were
know.
grinding and shit.
Yeah.
And I remember the locker room was just one big room.
That's it.
Everybody was in.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys with bloody. Balls was there. I remember seeing Balls because I was big on Balls. Like, that's my G right there. You got it hardcore. Yeah, and then when I got to go to a WWE event, I brought my nephews. It was SummerSlam. They got it on the WWE network. They showed me. I was like, and I got to meet. Kane was very nice. Kane was very nice. He came out and met the guys.
Very smart.
I seen H. And H seen us, but H was farther down the hall, and I get it. Sometimes you just drained and you don't want to be bothered. He did was gone.
Triple H?
Yeah,
he got
gone.
Got out of Dodge, yeah.
Farouk, Ron came out. He was nice to the boys and shit.
Yeah.
We didn't get to see any DX because, they were riding their high horse at that time. They were fucking rock stars,
too,
boy.
that's right.
Word.
That's right, man.
But the guy that stood out the most to me that I got to chop it up with, he came and actually sat down with us and chopped it up with Randy. Batista, Dave, good guy.
Yeah. He was in Bruce's movie, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. And, God, me and my boy was walking down the hallway, and Rick was talking to somebody. He was beefing, and he's like, ask these guys who I am. Who am I? We're like, you're Ric Flair. He said, woo, Ric Flair, woo. I love that guy, man.
Okay, first off, Method Man is a cool dude. Second
Method Man is a straight up Mark, dude. Like, listen to him. He's
yeah, bro. Come on,
He's just.
clearly.
I mean, he goes on for many more minutes about all the wrestlers he's met and his favorite wrestling matches and angles and stuff. He's a great guy.
I will say he's for sure a great guy. Number two, he said he was big on balls. So
Funny enough, going to some USA Pro Wrestling shows around 2001, 2002 at the Elks Lodge in Queens, meeting Balls Mahoney, I got to say, I'm a big balls guy myself.
both of y'all, okay.
That's cool. We
Can I get
love
a
balls
applause?
lovers on this show. I'll tell you, me and my boy Cena in the 8th grade, when like it was around the time WWE
Oh, what a name
brought,
drop. What a name drop. We get it. You're friends with one of the biggest wrestlers, one of the biggest, names in sports entertainment and film in general these days. But come on,
I have a real life friend named Cena. Yeah, that used to be a joke between us too. But no, in the 8th grade when I met him, this was around when they had brought back ECW in the bastardized version. That would air on Sci-Fi, I think. And like they brought Balls Mahoney back in.
This is the ECW with like Bobby Lashley, Zack Ryder, Matt Hardy.
Eventually
Chris
Bobby
Benoit.
went there. Yeah. Sabu was there.
Dude, Sabu in WWE was cool, if only for the fact that he got to wrestle at Madison Square Garden on one of the early ECW shows.
Okay. Well,
I was happy for him.
I'll tell you this. We would, for no reason, Cena and I just walk around his house and go, Balls Mahoney. It was great. It was great. These were good times. So yeah, I'm a Balls fan too.
Oh, look.
But,
Moulz Mel and Meth connect.
And connect. I love him shouting out, like, he was like, who came and chopped it up with us? Randy. I'm like, of course Randy did. Of course, because we know about Randy. He's a hip-hop fan.
We so know about Randy.
He's like, oh, you're Method Man. I know you. Shout out to Randy. I'll tell you this song, man, like Triple H in 03, there was no way in the world this wasn't getting over. Okay? The Rock's my favorite wrestler. Now, that wasn't enough. You got to do justice to him with him being my favorite wrestler. And luckily, that's what happened.
The Rock, we heard him coming out to the song. I think him coming out to it is a statement in and of itself, because not all of these wrestlers came out to these themes.
Right.
So the fact that he did...
Remind me to mention that when we get to No Chance, because
sure.
I wonder if Vince ever came out to that.
I
doubt
not.
it.
He did not. I have all the audio of the people who were coming out to their themes, and it's very minimal. It's The Rock on this random episode of SmackDown. It's The Godfather at WrestleMania 2000, which we'll play some audio from later. Not many people use these themes, whereas Forcible Entry, a few years later, of course, those themes would, Austin would end up using the Disturbed theme for a while. Kane switched his theme to Slow Chemical. Chris Benoit changed his theme permanently. Rob Van Dam. Those songs ended up having more staying power as themes. This is, to me, less of here are the new entrance themes performed by these artists, and more so kind of rap is hot, wrestling is hot. Let's see if there's some money here. We already know rock and wrestling have a good relationship. Let's see if we can let's see what the potential is in this relationship.
With rap and wrestling, right?
Yes. And I would say early on, probably not good, because none of these songs were used as themes other than the Run DMC DX theme, which was used more than just once. Okay. They used that as their theme for a little while, actually. That's the only one that ended up getting adopted as kind of a semi-official or alternate theme.
I'm sorry. I just popped myself because I made a note. Usually when we record and we play sound bites, I make a note to normalize them. But I wrote normalized meth. People always talking that normalized talk, right?
Yep.
Don't normalize meth. Or do it. I don't know. I don't do it. Maybe it won't be a problem to do it. But anyway, this isn't drugs effect on society rankings. This is rap rankings. And I'll tell you what. Is this as good or better than The Rock's theme? No, absolutely not. But that's not the song's fault. The song is great to me. It's just nothing's going to replace The Rock's theme.
It's not, The Rock's theme is really punchy and has a lot of impact and sounds epic. This is, okay, it's less in line with his theme song than the DX theme. It's more in line with his theme song than the Cool Keith. Like, I'm still getting the Rock energy. I mean, he did come out to it, so he was able to.
I don't know if we
perform.
mentioned it talking to Evan and Caitlin, if we talked to them, but I felt bad for the fans who, like, you know, they probably paid expecting to hear the Rock's theme song and go crazy. I mean, they still went crazy when he came out. But like, I know I would have wanted his original theme to play if I like was paying my money to come and see the Rock. I noticed they did play it after he won though.
Yeah,
his like regular theme. And I made a note of the fact that, you know, because he doesn't even do the
well, I
he
think
comes out and he goes on the
turnbuckle. This works for
turnbuckle.
an entrance because it has that build up with like the footsteps and everything, and that wow 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 wow. That feels like you're waiting on an entrance to drop, and then finally the Rock has come back, laying down the smack on you, monkey crack, candy coated axe, like that, and then he comes out.
Right now, if you notice, he comes out, he goes on the turnbuckle, but after he wins, I think to give the fans the photo op that they were probably expecting, after he wins, he gets on the turnbuckle again to his regular theme, you know, and like, you know, almost as if to make up for the fact that he didn't do it with the first theme. I mean, unless it wouldn't really matter unless they were recording footage there, and people weren't recording like that back then.
I don't know if it was to give people both or if it was to it's not, you can't play the Method Man.
It's not an outro theme.
Yeah, as a victory theme, it doesn't sound good starting that track over because it sounds entrancey. I mean, even those footsteps in the beat sounds like someone walking to the action, not having completed the action. So from that standpoint, sure. But I mean, listen, this is a good Method Man song.
It's a good Method Man song. But before we get to the actual content of the song, which is good, I wanted to say this conversation.
I'm sorry, but when I say it's a good Method Man song, I don't mean to say it's a good Method Man song in the sense that it doesn't sound like a song for The Rock, whereas the last track, Wreck, could pass as not being a Mankind song. This is clearly about The Rock. You've got the "Do you smell what The Rock is cooking?" You have that playing throughout the beat. This is a novelty record in that sense. It's about The Rock. But Method Man approaches it like flow-wise, and the energy and the style of beat all falls in line with Method Man. Mm-hmm. Just to be clear. So you were saying?
Well, no, I agree. And I would say that actually segues into what I was going to say, because we had this conversation on the phone. I wanted to bring it up on the show. And I also advertised it on that daggone because WWE on Fox ran that like picture some days back and was like, which era of The Rock is your favorite? And we were talking about, you know, these themes being fitting for the wrestlers and everything. So here's what I want to say. Because you were saying on the phone, like, this doesn't fit. It's not high energy enough to fit The Rock, who's like very brash and like bombastic and electrifying, right?
Yes.
And I was going to say, this wouldn't fit the energy of The Rock past a certain point. I think it fits The Rock of this era, like the late 90s, early 2000s Rock. Because I would say after WrestleMania 16, I think, no, it couldn't fly.
Right. But
is the era of The Rock now.
To be fair, though, this is a week away from...
It is a week away.
This is a week away from Mania 16.
Right. So this era is winding down. But I look at it like this. So, you know, there is...
But I don't have it at Mania 16. I don't have it there at all. I have it at least at Royal Rumble 2000 where he wins the Royal Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, that's where he kind of officially replaces Stone Cold. You know, Stone Cold leaves... When did Stone Cold get hit by the car? At Survivor Series 99?
I don't know.
Okay, I think Austin gets hit with the car on Survivor Series 99. In December, Vince McMahon loses to Triple H, and it's revealed that Stephanie was with Triple H the whole time. They form the McMahon-Helmsley era. They have The Rock and Mankind, who were in the Rock and Sock Connection at the time, battle it out in a pink slip on the pole match, and the loser gets fired, and The Rock won, so Mankind got fired. Cactus Jack comes back. He has a street fight at the Royal Rumble with Triple H. Then he puts his career on the line. At No Way Out, he gets, he gets X'd out. He loses. And that's what you saw in this episode of SmackDown with, Mick Foley being put back into this match. Was that even if Foley wins at Mania, the title will go vacant, and at Backlash they'll have the finals of the tournament.
Wendell was talking about there will be a tournament.
So,
I'm sure I talked about her already.
The very charismatic Linda McMahon.
This is what I mean.
But I'm just saying. So I would say, once The Rock won the Royal Rumble, and he was kind of getting into that mini feud with the Big Show to kind of determine the spot for WrestleMania for Triple H. I think once it was pretty much clear to the audience that at minimum we're getting Rock versus Triple H at Mania 2000. I think it was clear by the Royal Rumble that he was the guy now. And with that, it didn't come from we didn't get the if you smell boom boom what
that's
Rock,
what I'm getting
boom,
to.
Boom, boom, is cooking. We didn't get that, but we got one more. We got the do you smell what the Rock is cooking? Boom, boom, no. It's the one with the harder, the more electric sounding guitars. There's one before that.
Yeah, it's do you smell what the Rock is cooking? It's almost sort of acoustic sounding.
Yeah. That's to me Nation Rock.
Right. That's what I call Elvis Rock. The sideburns are longer. He talks a lot slower. This is what I wanted to get into because I think this Method Man song couldn't fit. Once The Rock gets the themes, once the F you smell starts and transitions from the do you smell, this could never work because he's too high octane at this point. I think it works right before that in this era that it came out in the do you smell, or it could have worked for the Elvis thing.
They just really it honestly feels either right at the buzzer or
they fit it in right when they could, because any time shortly after this it wouldn't have worked. I would say by WrestleMania 7 it's too late. By WrestleMania 17
by 17 it's if you smell.
Way too late. Yeah, it's if you smell.
I think by SummerSlam it's if you smell.
Right. And this is what I want to say about the eras that they broke it up into. They said there was Nation Rock, People's Champion Rock, Hollywood Rock, and then 2011 and onward Rock. Those are eras. But to me, the People's Champ version of the Rock could be split up into micro eras that I would say it's the original. He comes out as the People's Champion. He's a face. I think then there's the Rock that we get after WrestleMania 2000, where leading up to 17.
Wait, is that the People's Champion, or is that? I feel that's. It's weird.
He's kind of left the People's Champion era, but he's the Rock now. It's almost maybe
Rock.
the
most electrifying
era.
man, or the most electrifying man in sports entertainment.
Right, he's starting to get to that point, And then there's the era after he leaves and comes back from doing the Scorpion King. There's the Mummy Returns. There are three Rocks. There's the initial face with the little longer sideburns. Then he cuts the sideburns down and where they almost look sharp like knives. And then he comes back almost like a Caesar.
Don't forget about Rocky Maivia.
Well, we don't talk about Rocky Maivia. Not because I don't like him, but because he's not relevant to I would say he's probably last. If Rocky Maivia is anyone's favorite arrow of the Rock, then they're probably on that meth and we can't normalize it, But the thing is, I think this might be controversial, but my favorite arrow of the Rock is that how he looks on the cover of the Just Bring It DVD?
Yes.
That might be my favorite. And maybe it's that bias of having that DVD and playing Shut Your Mouth more than any other wrestling game. That was his motto in that game.
I would say for me, The Rock's peak, just having lived through it as a fan, when I was at the peak of my Rock fandom was when Austin was gone. I'd say from November, December 99 until WrestleMania 17, where I was like 100% rooting for him over Austin. And like, I was hoping he would win.
Yeah.
And the crowd definitely didn't agree with me, but
they were in Texas. But you know, folks, you got to understand about The Rock. There are many Rocks, okay? There's Rocky Maivia. There's Nation. What'd you say?
Many Rocks.
Many Rocks. Yeah, many Rocks. And
Wish Entertainment upon me, you know?
Paul Heyman?
No, Wish Entertainment.
Oh.
You know, instead of Wish Death?
Many Rocks wish he does wish the global audience, you know? But, yeah, listen, folks. There's slow Rock. He shaves the sideburns. He loses the slow pace. I call him
like Johnny Bravo Rock.
Yeah, there you go. Johnny Bravo Rock. You know, then he starts speaking a little faster.
He's no longer part of the Nation of Domination anymore, but he's not the great one. He's not the electrifying man. He's just starting to figure that part of it out.
The electrifying part. He's cool. Now he's going to get electrifying. So when he starts electrifying himself, he starts speaking a little fast. He loses the slow pace. He adopts the brisk pace, sponsored by Lipton. And then he goes and does a few movies.
Sponsored by cocaine.
No, we're getting there. He goes to Hollywood, comes back like post-Mummy Rock. Hair is shorter. The curls are gone. And he's more like jittery and electrified. This is like, whoa, Michael
But this
Cole.
is not Hollywood Rock yet.
No, not Hollywood Rock yet.
This is like the Rock that lost to Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. He had
this is the era. Yeah,
I would say
this is Rock from Invasion to WrestleMania 18 is the Rock I'm talking about.
I would take it further. I'd say Invasion to losing to Brock Lesnar.
Was that after? Yeah, that was after it. You're right. Okay, so
that's like to
Brock.
It's that year.
Because that's when he left. That's the Rock I'm talking about.
2001 to the summer of 2002.
Exactly. That's my favorite Rock.
That's my Rock for sure.
I love him.
But then again, I'm going to also say 2000 to 2001 is fine. Like
he's fired because that's WrestleMania 17 Rock. You know, and he's probably the Hall of Famer.
Pants, right, with the gold trim.
The gold bull and like
gold bull, gold bull.
Come on, you know that's
gold
great.
Bull. I want to say maybe it's just my love of Mania 17. Gold Bull is my favorite Rock. I think Gold Bull.
Either give me Gold Bull, either give me 17 or 18.
Yeah, Gold
Rock.
Bull with shorter sideburns.
Exactly, with shorter sideburns. Exactly. Give me WrestleMania 17 Rock or 18 Rock. Those are my chosen
18
Rocks.
Rock is classic too.
Classic. Now, this isn't to say, and of course, people talk about it, it's underrated. So after that, he leaves, Brock goes over, he comes back as Hollywood Rock to get ready for this final matchup at WrestleMania with Stone Cold. This is Cocaine Rock. Now, he's already been dabbling in the cocaine, and folks, we're not accusing him of doing cocaine. It's just his mannerisms and behavior. He's real hyped up. It's like, yo, Jillian, do you want some of the people's strudel? Like he's like hyped now. He's like bouncing around. He's on coke. Okay, so
but in
he
reality,
comes back as Hollywood Rock.
I can tell you what's really going on without having to tell you, oh, he's on coke. He sees a way out. He's like, like he sees like the light at the end of the tunnel, and like through the light, you know, there's like
I'm gonna get out of this carny business once and for all.
He can just see it in the distance, and he's like, all I have to do is do the fake shit for a little while longer. And then I'm going to be able to walk out of here. Like, I see it. I can finally see, like, all I have to do is go through there. I'll be out
I wish I would have clipped the audio. I watched it, like, a few days ago. It was him, like, 16 minutes of him answering a question. He was like, after a long time, you know, people ask me, why did I retire in 2004? And, like, and he, like... He doesn't dance around. He does answer the question, but you can tell he just wanted to say, yo, the bag was bigger in Hollywood and I was sick of this crap. You know, like that's what it felt like he wanted to say, you know? And so when he came back as Hollywood Rock, I was bothered from an aesthetic standpoint because I'm like, why does he have this big tattoo now? And why is his head all the way shaved?
I hated it at the time.
Oh, I was so mad. I was so mad. The
glasses, the bald head.
You know, I'm like, and they're looking at us like, Moulz Mel, why do you care about another man's body? I'm like, shut up. You had to have been there, okay? This was very off-putting to me. I didn't know what to think. I was like, what was I, like 10 at the time? I'm like, this isn't the Rock.
You know what I hated, Mel? The big round belt buckle.
That was his alternate attire in I think in Shut Your Mouth, actually, before he was like complete. Like he had 3 different outfits.
Like when I can tell you like a heel run worked is when I become a fan of The Miz and I look back and I'm like, all these years I hated The Miz is because he was actually good at being a heel.
Because he was good. Right.
I'm thinking of some other examples. People who JBL. I did not appreciate that at all at the time. I refused to watch him. I was like, why is Bradshaw champion? That's bullshit. But looking back, like, he was the perfect guy to put it on at the time, and he did a great job playing that character.
As someone who was still watching at the time, JBL was a great heel. When he was beefing with John Cena, you know, when he was beefing, I think he was beefing with Batista for a while. He was great.
To me, truly the mark of a great heel is when you can even get the quote-unquote smart fan to actually hate you.
Right. You know, he was
good. And even if they eventually come around, they're like, you know what? Like, I was wrong about this person. They're actually really good at being bad. The fact that they could get me at all means that they were really good.
Right. It's
I used to hate the fucking Big Boss Man so much as a kid. Like,
because the boy looks like the Blue Lives Matter MAGA.
But I go back and I watch his stuff. And I'm like, yo, he was so good, especially as a heel, I think. Like
he works because he looks perfect. Like a real life, like, overzealous cop, bro.
Right. like
he looks like that.
He was great. I just hated him at the time, and I was supposed to.
You know? He was in I think he was in you ever have that WWF Attitude for the Game Boy Color?
I didn't have it for Game Boy. I had that one for N64, I think.
Yeah. Well, and we talked about this. We know those weren't great. The Acclaim series of games,
garbage. They
weren't great. They had a lot of features, but they weren't great gameplay wise.
They were horrible gameplay wise.
But yeah, listen, Hollywood Rock is great in retrospect. He grew on me in the period, but like looking back, I love him. And I wish he would come back as that character. And then the last era, of course, is post-retirement, coming back sporadically, doing the runs with John Cena, CM Punk. Basically, corporate cocaine Rock is what I'll call it. He's smiley.
Global audience era.
The global audience Rock, you know. So if that's your favorite era of the Rock, you're also on Rock. But what can I say? So the song. It fits just barely the era of the Rock that he comes out.
I think Method Man being a fan who actually watches this shit helps the song.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because
it allows it allows him to like take the POV of the Rock and write from it, and it's, you know, he's talking about the millions upon millions of Rock's fans. You know, clearly someone well versed in the subject matter he's rapping about.
Listen, the song's a head nodder. Big fan. Shout out to Rock Wilder. Haven't seen him really, feels like, since season 2. He's nailing it again. Okay, the beat's riding. The rapping's great. It's my favorite wrestler. And like every bar is hitting for me. Even how he comes on, you know, do you smell what? Yo, finally, The Rock has come back. I'm just like, I'm already strapped in at that point. You know, he's just killing this.
I like the fake strings on this one. The boom, 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 boom.
Oh, listen, you talking about the fake. You know I'm synth Mel. The synth work at the end of the chorus, hate to say it, reminds me of Hamilton, but it's like, when it sounds like a pad, like swell, you smell what the Rock is, like it comes in during the chorus, and it's like, bro,
you smell what the Rock is cooking?
And you gotta love that being dropped in throughout the record. It's just, I'm loving it, okay? And he even gets in his mailbag. You know, when I be rapping on the Mophie Juice Pack, you know? Moulz knows how I used to do raps for...
Can we hear it?
It's not time yet.
Still not time. You just mentioned it. You brought it up.
I know I brought it up. It's still not time yet. You got to make him wait on that. Yeah, Mel rapped about a Mophie portable phone charger thing once in 2013. You'll hear about it one day. But this is a compliment.
Oh, and you know what it is? We don't play our good raps on this show.
You know? I'll give it to him on State of the Rankings. That's when I'll give it to him.
I'll say this. you rap better on corporate tracks,
right?
Commercials than you do on your own songs.
Than a lot of actual songs, right? It's a daggone shame, but I acknowledge it. But it's just I think it's the pinpoint accuracy, and I really get into the assignment, as they say. It's like with Rec, it's like, what did they say these days? Like, oh, they understood the assignment. I feel like with Rec, they understood the assignment. With
so
this
far,
song, Method Man
understood the assignment.
Right. I mean, like, you know, when he says it's Thursday night SmackDown, there's no way out. You know, like all the references, time to throw rock bottom, ain't no way to stop him. See the people's eyebrow, ignite the crowd. You know, just finish with the people's elbow and sign it rock. Like he knows what he's talking about. He's just throwing it all in there, just throwing it, everything he knows, throwing it out there. And I appreciate it. You know, this is the flat 8 for me. I love the beat. Method Man is rapping great. The Rock is on it.
I think it also helps
soundbite.
that, you know, Rock Wilder has a history with Method Man as well. So it's not just like, you know, slapped together sort of thing.
Right.
You got an artist with a producer that they have a good rapport with and subject matter that the rapper is clearly very well versed in. And you get, to me, a 7+, to Mel, an 8-.
Flat 8.
Flat 8.
Flat 8. And you do say this is better than the other song The Rock did with
this is better than It Doesn't Matter. What is that? Off the Eclectic by Wyclef.
Oh, I was thinking of or am I thinking of Poontang Pie?
Oh, you're thinking of Pie featuring Slick Rick?
Yeah, Pie. Is it better than Pie?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, the thing about Pie is that it sucks, but it's fun.
Is it have you told him the story yet? About Moulz at the
I told it on the day 2 of the call-in episodes of the WrestleMania 37 pre-show for the Laps fan. So I've told this story recently.
Ah, okay.
On a Laps fan episode.
Well, tell them, go find the Laps fan episode to hear the Moulz story.
It's somewhere on there. You'll find me.
So yeah, it's just, you know.
The Rock, I remember he did some sort of... I used to watch this show, WWF Superstars, which would show what happened on Raw and SmackDown that week. And then they would mostly do, like, short-form documentary and featurette stuff. And it's like, oh, we're on set with Mick Foley as he, you know, goes on a press run for his new book. And it's that kind of stuff. And I don't remember what it was concerning specifically. I couldn't find the clip. I looked for it all week, but I couldn't find it. But one of these Superstar clips, they like asked The Rock what kind of music he likes. And I remember him saying like he was listening to Jay-Z Big Pimpin' and he was listening to Cash Money Millionaires. And that's all I remember was like that he said he was listening to Jay-Z Big Pimpin' and the new Cash Money Millionaires.
I remember this. Wow.
And by the way, I realized recently there were probably weeks during the Attitude Era, quote unquote, that I probably didn't watch Raw or SmackDown for one reason or another. Like I had to study or I was on punishment or something. But I would always watch Superstars. So I feel like I have a lot of random WWF Superstars Saturday morning wrestling recap show on New York 55 nostalgia.
Right. Well, I in terms of those like supplementary shows, those side shows, of course the classic Sunday Night Heat.
Oh, that's such a classic.
Watch that. It's so classic. It's very mega classic. Maybe not the best show, but I always love the color scheme, Velocity.
Hey, you know? Listen, Velocity was great. I mean, legitimately, there's like, that's where they put a lot of the cruiserweight guys. Yeah. So there's like a lot of Tajiri matches on there, Billy Kidman.
You get some high work rate matches on that Velocity.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Daniel Bryan made his debut as Daniel Bryanson against John Cena on an episode of Velocity.
You know? You know, it's like, yeah, you're gonna get some good matches because people got to prove themselves. You know,
Yeah, you're gonna see.
And
the
I always
stars
love
of
the
tomorrow.
green in the games. I
love the color scheme. I
love the green.
I wish I would sometimes make it one of my premier brands. Like
I would treat it like a pay-per-view in the games. It's like WWE Velocity, and it'd be one of my pay-per-views.
Sometimes what I would do is I'd be like, you know what? Raw, it's had a good run, but we're going green, baby. And I'd run Monday Night Velocity and Thursday Night Smack. I was more willing to kill Raw than kill SmackDown.
Wow. I was a Team SmackDown person myself.
Look, Raw's cooked, you know?
It's for sure cooked now.
Tired of that red, you know? Let's get rid of that red.
Look, I've always rocked with the blue over red. You know, it's just Mel's cripping for sure. But yeah, listen, I'll end by saying, you know, my favorite Rock moment. I couldn't do it. I will tell you, basically, anything post WrestleMania 2000 to SummerSlam, where he loses to Brock, it's just, I love it. I love it all. The matches, the promos, the hype. Listen, I'll say this. Instead of a favorite Rock moment, if you want to know why I love The Rock, get that DVD I mentioned earlier. They're Just Bring It DVD. And you need the collector's edition with the bonus disc because that has the triple threat match from Vengeance 2002 on it.
My favorite triple threat match of all time.
Great.
Even though I'm not happy
Taker
with the
and Kurt
result.
Angle.
I wanted Kurt Angle to win. But
oh man,
at the time I was really upset and dejected.
I rewatched it recently, and he should have won. I mean, he had them both in ankle and ankle locks.
That match is the ultimate. Like, come on, it's over, right? And then it's not over. There's
before they started doing that too much.
Exactly,
the false finishes.
It was the first. You know? It was the most amount of false finishes I'd ever seen at that point in my life. But hey, that's up there for me, Mel. In terms of my all-time Rock moments, that is certainly up there for me. Obviously, I think his best match against Austin was at 17.
Oh, for sure, 17.
Despite the outcome. I really like his ladder match against Triple H at SummerSlam 98.
It's on the DVD.
Yeah, I mean, it's a classic to me.
If you want to see The Rock's bare booty, that's in there.
It was a ladder match before the Hardys and Edge and Christian kind of redefined what those are. So
it's probably like the last of like the traditional ladder matches,
or the last of the good ones, memorable ones at least. All of those deserve a shout. The Rock, when he goes on he did a promo, I think it was before Armageddon 2000, the 6-way Hell in a Cell, where he runs down all the other people in the cell, and he does impressions of them. Promo. It's a really funny promo. I think it still holds up. Not all of his promos hold up. I love Rock and Mankind. This Is Your Life.
Classic
moment, segment.
Always felt bad for the participants, even though it's fake.
It's so funny though, because they've tried so many times to replicate that segment and do it again.
Yeah.
And it's always never a good thing. It's just it worked once and never again. So I feel like that's kind of special. I loved his matches with John Cena. I mean, he made me a Cena fan. He made me respect Cena. I remember me and David sort of becoming unlapsed around that time. And we went to the other David's
because you had missed pretty much the ascension of John Cena.
Yes, by choice. And we went to the other David's house and we watched the pay-per-view, and there were so many letdowns throughout that pay-per-view that sort of reminded us why we were staying away in the first place. And then Cena and The Rock really blew the fucking roof off the place. And The Rock, in beating John Cena, I came away with my biggest takeaway was that I respect John Cena.
That was the match.
He took so many bumps in that match for a guy that I was told didn't take bumps.
I see. Now, yeah, and I can't blame you because you weren't watching around that time. I became lapsed in 2008. And then I came back in 2012 when that match was announced because I'm like, oh, The Rock's back. Oh, he's fighting John Cena. I got to see this. It was my first semester in college. And like I pirated it on my laptop. I was in my dorm by myself, and like I went crazy when The Rock won. And I've kind of just been keeping up with it again ever since, after that 4-year sort of break, you know. So yeah,
I feel like
that
it's
was
a lot easier to keep up with now without actually having to watch it.
Well, because they post 1 million, that they got to get that engagement, you know.
Yeah, I
There's
know.
1 million accounts, 1 million
happening.
things going on. You're gonna hear about stuff, you know.
It's crazy. I don't, watch Raw or sometimes SmackDown, but not really that either. And I managed to catch everything that's happening on these shows anyway, just through social media.
They said, Mel, you don't watch the actual product.
It sounds like a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing. Don't watch the product. Don't watch wrestling. Don't do it. Yeah, you want to move on?
Yeah, we're only spending about, I don't know, 40 minutes on each.
We're wrestling. We knew this was going to happen. You said this was going to happen going in, and I was like, this is in our control, but look, this is what happened. This is the one time probably on the show where we're going to actually get to talk about wrestling and
without
on
quickly
topic.
Trying to move each other along from talking about wrestling.
Right. It's on topic this time, you know, so.
It is.
The brisk pace will kick in, though. It'll kick in.
Oh, it'll for sure kick in.
Yeah, because it's not all. It's been great so far. This album pretty much, but it ain't all great. So let's keep it going.
Yo, it's Mel from Rap Rankings. To hear the full episode this clip comes from and all the other episodes, stop by raprankings.com or search Rap Rankings on your favorite podcast platform.